This presentation is brought to you by the Zach Ross Foundation, a global philanthropic organization with a focus on poverty, education, and mental health.
All right, we're going to start off with some simple questions today before we jump into our topic. Who here considers themselves to be a kind or nice human being? Somewhat? You're kind and nice?
To an extent.
To an extent.
Yeah.
Yes. Anybody else? You're a pretty kind and nice human being? Yeah? Just a little bit. Other people don't consider themselves to be kind or nice? Do kind or nice people hit others? Yes or no?
Yes.
Explain.
Kind and nice person. Well, I'll tell you that. No.
Okay. Anybody else? Well, I'll get to you. Kind or nice people, do they hit people?
I don't know. It's like a gray. That's like.
It's like the gray area.
Like,
Yeah.
that's a gray area. Like,
But I don't think so.
What do you think?
No, I've never read very much.
I don't think
Like,
so.
what do you mean by hit? Like,
Yeah.
do you mean like full on swinging or like just like
I mean,
a little
like-
tap? Cause I do that,
If
but
you
like
like-
I don't full on swing.
If you genuinely like nice and kind, you're not gonna do it. You're not gonna have like the heart to do it, no matter like what.
You're not gonna have the heart to do it.
I mean, I guess it depends on the situation.
Okay, so situation, you were gonna say something.
This is why I said like borderline, because like I should be really nice, but I would say like a kind or nice person, kind of just depending on the situation, because if like someone was in trouble and like being attacked or something like that, or someone got their purse snatched, that's kind of a situation where like I would disregard like my kind self and start swinging on someone, but
Gotcha.
like other than that, I consider myself ugly nice enough.
Interesting. So you say disregard kind self. So there's another self in there, right? Maybe to some degree. You're walking down the street, down Harlem Avenue, down Augusta, you're leaving Concordia. Right? Nobody's around. Randomly some stranger is walking past you and just smacks the crap out of you for no reason.
that's disrespectful.
What are you gonna do? First reaction? Who's gonna smack them back? Or worse? Or one? Hands of people who will immediately, before anything else, just, you're gonna hit them back. Anybody else? Reaction. Give me a reason why. What's your reasoning, now that you know this, like you're not in the situation now, but why do you think you would do that? Why would you behave that way?
Just like they just,
Hmm?
you said they just come up and like they just.
Yeah.
Get it black and blood.
Even if I don't like, I don't know this person. I don't know this person that just smacked me.
No, it's just
Oh
a-
no, yeah, I gotta smack him.
Why? Why do you think that?
It's just a normal. It's normal.
Okay, so it's just a normal impulse, right? Who here don't actually think they would? Like who think they actually, that would not immediately like just smack or punch them back?
I feel like I would just be in shock. Like I wouldn't do anything like in response right away. I think I would just be standing there looking stupid and just being shocked. Like what the fuck is
And
happening?
when you're in that state of shock, what's going on in your mind?
I have no clue.
I would be like, who are you? Like, I'd be like, who are
Where did you
you?
come from?
Right? Shock is a question mark. It's like, what the heck? You know? What? Why? What? Who? Where? Why? Right? So you want to know why the person did it, right? Will that change if they tell you why? Will this absolutely? I want to slap
No,
them.
I
I want
want
to
Put
slap
them
them.
paws on them.
Yeah.
So for you who said shock, now they tell you why, right? Because I felt like.
And I'd be like, okay, good for you, and then I would just, go.
So you would keep going. You wouldn't hit back regardless.
I don't know, like, I would just be like, okay, have a good day, and then just leave. Because, like, I don't know, like, I don't know, like, I don't know who this person is, like, why the fuck are you gonna, like, I'd be like, why would I entertain it?
So you be
I
rationalizing.
know, I would literally be having a whole conversation with myself in my head, being like, what the hell just happened? Why did this happen? And then when you told me, I'd be like, okay, you're a psychopath. I'm gonna leave now. Like,
Okay. So you want, context, like you want a little bit, like,
Yeah.
why before I do what I'm gonna do, others to just keep walking and maybe do something else. Next question. Walking down the street, nobody's out there, and a homeless person's out there, right? Here this, you're walking down Michigan Avenue, a homeless person's out there asking for money. He spots and asks you directly, instead of all the other people walking down Michigan Avenue. What do you normally do? What do you guys like your honest sort of, what do you normally do in that situation?
I want to lie to you so bad.
Huh?
I want to lie to you so bad.
No, tell the truth. No, tell the truth. I mean,
This has happened to me before.
okay, and what happened?
He told me to get some money on my bank account and give him like $5. And that's exactly what I did.
Oh, you did
I
it?
gave him $5.
Okay, awesome. You did. Like, okay, well, why?
Why?
Yeah.
I don't know. I got off the train. He walked up to me and said, "Can I have $5?" I was like, "Yeah, all right." And I gave him $5. I was like, "I ain't got cash on me."
So now thinking back, can assess why you think you did it?
No,
Was it because of fear?
God no. He smelled.
Was it to get the situation over with as quick as possible, or was it like, hey, I'm in a good mood, who cares?
I mean, I was kind of in a neutral mood. I mean, I got off the train. I was coming to see family, and they were like 10 minutes away, so it's not like I could rush the situation because I didn't really have any control over what was
Okay,
going on.
so you're not 100% sure. Anybody else? What do you think you would do? Yes.
Alright, so when I'm like with my family in like the car, if I'm walking with my family, they're always like, don't look, like, just keep walking, cause it's like,
Your family
they always
says that?
think it's a scam. They're
No, I
like,
wouldn't.
this person's just sitting on this corner, like, asking for money, but like, they always come up with a reason, like, oh, they got this kind of shoe, like, they're not like poor, but like, when I'm by myself, like, driving up to like, from the expressway, about to turn on to Harlem, or if I'm walking down, I usually have a big old bag of change in my purse or sitting in my car, so I just start like handing out change.
Okay. All right, so when you're driving down Harlem, and you're about to hit the 290 or whatever, and since you have the change already set up, you're like, all right, I'm gonna give it to him because it's convenience?
No.
Like,
I feel like, because it feels like it's something that, like, I need to do, like, it makes me feel like a good person, but like, also, like, I help this person out, like, even if they were, like, trying to scam me, it's like, I did what I could, like, to at least try and help someone that I thought was in need of it. And I also feel like I have to make up for what my family, like, literally said, as we were coming in from the highway.
Okay. But you were saying when you were with your family, you guys are walking, it's like, don't look, right? So the family, group of people influence whether you did it in one situation versus the next. Okay, anybody else? Yes?
So like, if I'm with like my mom or like my family, normally, or if I'm by myself, I'll be like, do you want, like, I'll either give them food or like, be like, what do you need? Like, what are some things that you need, instead of just giving them money?
Okay.
Because I feel like that, like, would be more beneficial for them, depending, like, I don't, like, that's more of a, I don't know, it's just like the necessities
So-
we need to,
Therefore, you need more context.
yeah.
Hey, give me some money, wow.
Like,
I don't know if that'll help.
yeah, exactly.
I don't know if that'll help.
I feel like either like clothes or like just
No, I just wanna get high and go buy some liquor.
then I'm not gonna do.
Why?
It's just, I don't know, I don't wanna be that person that's just like, oh yeah, here, go do this. No, like
So you have to know what's being done with what you're offering, pretty much, right? We like to know what's gonna be done with what you're offering.
Yeah, I don't wanna.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes.
Cause the thing is like, I'm already struggling with money as a college student myself.
Mhm.
So when I'm out there, like, I don't wanna be like, oh, well, I can give you this and then possibly leads you to go either continue while you're on the street or just not even spend it and just keep it like for anything else because like as I said, I struggle with money myself, so
Yeah.
why would I do that to someone?
Yeah, why would you harm yourself, put yourself in a bad situation?
Yeah.
By not knowing exactly what somebody would do with the money, right? Anybody else wanna add to the subject? Anybody just like, I just don't give, I don't care. You?
Yeah, I usually just stop and walk away.
Why do you think that is?
Well, most of the time you can tell if they're like on drugs and stuff like that. And a lot of homeless people here usually are. Like, just like, you just look at them and you're like, yeah, they're on drugs. So I don't know exactly like, if I were to interact with them, like what they would do, if they're dangerous or not, that sort of stuff.
So you saying that we, as humans, can stereotype for a benefit of like, that looks like a drug addict. That looks like an alcoholic, right? And keep it moving. Okay. Let me see if I got any more questions to begin this up with. Okay, so what do we learn about, what's the point of all this? The point of all this is, does mood kind of dictate behavior, or does your already like innate behavior dictate like the mood or attitude, I would say? Does attitudes about certain things dictate behavior, or does your actual innate behavior dictate your attitudes about something, right? So think about that for a second. Does your attitude or perceptions of certain things dictate how the outcome's gonna be, how you're gonna act on that thing? Or is it the other way around? You know, like you have extremely grounded principle and you absolutely do not conform based on any situational context, right? So something to think about. So as we get into social psychology, which is basically what? What is social psychology? What do we think that is? Let's throw some guesses. What's social psychology? Right, relationship with other people, right? This whole time we're kind of focusing on our individual self, biological makeup, physiological, how the brain does all these things with hormones for ourselves. But now we're gonna talk about attitudes and perceptions towards others in a group, right? With someone outside of just ourselves. So think of even the classroom. There may be perceptions about certain people, right? There could be stereotypes about certain people. Right, this is a social environment, right? It could be stereotypes about Professor Ross, right? Attitudes towards Professor Ross, positive or negative. But really what we talked about is like, hey, my attitude towards this particular situation, right? So are things situation dependent or are they individual dependent? Like, no, this is who I am. Situation don't change. I'm gonna be me regardless of wherever you put me. Whatever situation you put me in, I'm always me. Or it's like, hey, Professor Ross, honestly, it depends on the situation. You put me in a situation, you're gonna get a different me. You're gonna say my other self, right? Therefore, we identify we got a lot of selves. But for the most part, do we behave in a social environment because we're being groomed and shaped to? Or do we behave in a social environment because like, no, that's me, right? Are you a good team player? Are you friends with the people on the team because of the team members? You're like, no, I'm not friends with them. I'm here to do a goal, I could care less, right? Are you friends with the people you're friends with for some condition, some situation? Like, man, I really like to hang out with such and such because they bring something to the table that I don't. They're cool. You know, they get a lot of girls, a lot of guys. They got a lot of money. They feel the best parties. Like, they know people. They got a way better network than I do. Right? I'm an introvert, they're an extrovert. So think about that. We're constantly having these actions throughout our lives every day. Is it dependent on the conditions of situations? Which means that, well, maybe the human being is not some sort of static thing. Maybe we are not who we think we are. And you're like, really, we're just some continuous evolution. Every day we change just a little bit, right? You tweak. So the other question I was gonna ask this, right? All right, you guys get out of college. Or even before you get out of college, right? Somebody gives you an offer. $150,000 a year, right out the gate. $40K. This is for the line worker job. So you're just working on the factory line. $150K, they're like, forget school, drop out tomorrow. I'll feel $150,000 a year. Under the condition that you work here for 10 years. Or someone says, no, I got a better job, like, tell me what it is you wanna do. I'm like, I'm gonna give you $45K a year. Right? Okay, but you gotta do this thing for 10 years as well too. What would you do? Honest, you're real, right now, speaking, what will you honestly do and why? Yes?
I don't gotta think twice, give me the 40K.
Doing what you wanna do, doing what you're passionate about, your dream. Okay. Yes?
I say the same thing, and I mean, I've looked it up like multiple times, like, oh, how much does like a Marine hours make? It's about 40K at like starting position, so I was like, it's worth it, I guess. And 40K is a little small, if you're living around city center, depends on where you live.
Yeah, it depends on where you live. Yeah, depends on where you live. Anybody else? Anybody else will take $150,000 a year?
You should have lowered it. You should have lowered the 40K.
Oh, because, no. All right, I'm gonna lower the 40K to 25K.
Now you got a little debate on your hands.
Huh? 25, but it's absolute, like, you could, if you wanna play basketball, like, dude, we get 25,000 a year. You gotta do it for 10 years, but you can just hoop all day. That's it. You get a paycheck. You taking 150? Yes.
What are the conditions? Like, you work 10 years, but then, like, could you switch to the other job?
After 10 years, you could. So you would sacrifice 10 years working at a factory, just on the line, for the money. For what the rationale thinking, like, hey, I'll save the money so I can do what I love after 10 years. Okay. Who else would do that?
That's 10 years of my life.
You would do that? 150 because you think it's worth the sacrifice. So this goes to show, hey, things are conditional. Because I'm pretty sure if I went to Chase Bank and pulled out 150, brought it to class, right, here's the money. Right? Show me the money, Professor Ross. Put it on the table right there. I'm pretty sure there's quite a few people that would do that, right? Because the money's too powerful, right? The money is just too. First thing rationalizing in our minds, like what we could do with the money, how happy I would be with the money, all these different things. But there are some people, there are probably a few of you, I would say, that would be like, nah, give me the other job, right? You're kind of like, well, the value truly is the value of your happiness. You're like, that's a lot of time. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of hours of absolutely knowing you can't do anything else to really further that passion you have for 10 years, right? That's a lot of time. And then you're like, well, I'm banking on the 10 years, right? Like, we may not be alive. Anything could happen. Any medical conditions, illnesses, or whatever. So I'll give you one more scenario before we get into actually I'll pull it up on the internet for you. Right here. All right, here's a real world situation. There you go. The current jackpot for the lottery is how much? What does it say at the top? 1,900 million. All right? The cash value is $929 million cash. Federal government's gonna take about 37% off the top. Now you're left with cash, $585. You live in the state of Illinois. So after all the taxes are paid, this is what you get.
I'll walk away.
You see that number?
$339 million. Right?
Hmm?
I said that.
Right here.
Oh, it's 500. Thank you.
If you take the cash right now, after you pay the state of Illinois and the federal government, that's what you love.
$1.9 billion. Where the rest of my money at?
But if you now wait, here's the thing. Let me show you the annuity payment schedule. So over 30 years, which is the big jackpot numbers. Whenever you see the big number, it means over 30 years before taxes, right? So there you go, there's your payout for 30 years. First year, 29 million, second year, 30, 33, 35, 36. So here's the question. Do you take the cash value or do you take the annuity? With the annuity, you actually end up with double. There's the final amount. $1.1 billion.
I'm taking that.
What?
I'm taking that, the annuity.
The annuity?
Yeah, I'm not walking away with less than half of my billion. What? Why did they take so much money from me? I feel disrespected in a way.
Who's taking the cash? Why?
I forget what it's called. If the money would cost less. How to explain it?
Yeah, you're saying inflation, things
there
like
we go.
that.
That's
All right.
it.
So you're saying the actual value of the money
It would
may
be
not be
less.
it.
So it'd be
All right, so
less.
you're thinking rational. Who here is taking the annuity? Why?
Because like you may not start out with a lot of money, but like if you're responsible with it or like you have, because there's supposed to be like a thing, like a way you save money over the years, like this much goes into savings, this much goes into like, it's a budgeting system.
Mhm.
If you use that,
Mhm.
it's like still end up with a lot of money, but like using it like the way you want, but also saving it. I don't know, just like.
So do you trust yourself to, do right by the money, or you don't? It's like, no, I don't trust myself. Therefore, I'm gonna take a little by little.
I know, right now, all I really would spend it on is tuition, but like out of college, it's like,
All you're spending on is tuition? You wouldn't drop out of school?
no.
Who here that will be their last day of class?
You don't see me Wednesday.
Some honest-
I'm
Wait, what happened to them?
Thinking about it, but nah.
trying to win this one.
Right, so think of that too. Like, how are we shaped in order to think about this? Some people are risk averse. They're like, I don't know what the future. Maybe Bitcoin took over and the money don't even matter in 30 years or something. And other people are like, no, drip, drip, drip. I'll still be rich and I'll have. It doesn't matter after 30 years. And if I die, my children or mom or whoever will get it there.
I can't take
All right, so yeah, context dependent, situational dependent, how we relate to other people, how we relate, what our relationships with. All right, social thinking and social influence. You guys are on social media all the time, think about that. Who are the people that influence you? Why? The people that influence you, if I gave you information to tell you about how horrible some of the things they've done, will that even change your opinion about the people, right? Antisocial relations and pro-social relations. Do we know what being antisocial is? Right? Or sociopathy or psychopathy? I'm pretty sure you know, like, who knows the difference between psychopaths and sociopaths? Right? Or people we could just say anti-personality disorders or whatnot. Right, man, anything dealing with disorders is just deviation from the norm. So just, always keep your mind like this stuff is actually simple. Just pay attention to the word. It's never really as complex beyond a word if you examine just the word, right? Social psychology, like you're like, okay, how it relates to other people, right? Antisocial personality is just deviation from normal behavior when it deals in social context, right? Think of sociopaths, basically people who really have emotions towards social context. They really don't care what people feel, think, as long as they have the motivation and drive to get what they need. Right? The thing is, sociopaths are really socially context. Psychopaths is like, no, the brain is actually, the chemistry is really messed up. You're born you're born a psychopath. Like you really have a chemical disorder of some sort in your brain. Whereas sociopathy is more so like, man, it's really context dependent. You drive over people, you deceive people, you lie, you do this because you use social context to get what you want because it's all about you. But you really don't have a chemical imbalance or anything. All right, social thinking, right? Focus on social influences that explain why the same person acts differently in different situations. We talked about giving. Like, oh, when my family's here, I'm not gonna get the money, right? If I'm by myself, maybe I'm more myself. So the question is, who's the true self? The one with your family that you love, right? Love them, that's your mom and dad, your sister. Are you more genuine with your family, or are you more genuine by yourself? You're like, I just feel guilt. I have to give money when I'm by myself. For my family, maybe they kind of think for me, and they tell me, don't look that way, right? My family probably looking after me, they got my best interest, so I'm gonna think like the other people have told me to think. I'm gonna act based on what other people have told me to do. And then when I'm by myself, you're like, well, actually when I think about it, maybe I should give them money, right? Attribution theory, right? Behavior of others explained by crediting either the situation or the person's disposition. Think about being slapped in the face walking down Augusta. Like, man, that's situation dependent. I'm normally a nice guy, right? But I credit the situation, right? Question is, the 12-year-old carjackers, if they're carjacking, how much time should they get? How much time do we think those people should get?
A 12-year-old carjacker?
Yeah. Most of the carjackers are underage, 14, 13. You think they should get serious time?
No.
Why?
They're 12.
Right? So you say, based on the situation of their age versus the crime they commit,
I also feel like
what if they killed somebody during the act of the carjacking?
Like intentionally or?
However way.
Oh, then charge him as an adult.
Charge him as an adult. Think about that, right? Charge him as an adult. Why?
He killed someone.
Hmm?
He killed someone.
But so are you saying that in the sense of, no, eye for an eye? You take a life, you gotta pay the price regardless of context, situation, yada, yada, yada. You just gotta bring the hammer down. Or is it subjective? It's like, I don't know, it really depends, It really sucks that kid had to be brought up in such an environment or something, right? Or we could have been that kid or something that we were brought up. But think of that, right? That it really is situation dependent. And for some people, it's not situation dependent. There's no attributes to it. It's like, no, you're guilty, you're guilty. That's it, it's over. And others will be like, no, let's examine what happened, what are the details, things like that. I think we do that all the time with politics, right? With things we see on social media, we're like, it's black or white with some people. It's like, no, I ride with this person no matter what. Like, really, no matter what? They just killed from some people. I don't care. I mean, but think of that. We do think that way. We're like, I don't believe that. But here's the evidence. No, I don't want to. Right? Because you've already invested in the person, in the idea of the person, right? You invested in the idea of the person. And so therefore the crediting of the situation doesn't matter, right? You already have an inherent bias. And then we got a fundamental attribution error, right? Tendency for observers when analyzing others' behaviors to underestimate the impact of the situation and to overestimate the impact of personal disposition, which is our inherent bias, right? We exaggerate things, we underestimate things. All right, factors that affect these attributes, right? Our culture, right? This is American culture. We live in the culture of laws. We live in the culture of entertainment. Celebrity worship, right? We worship the celebrity. Man, that guy got more money than you. He's better than you. He's a billionaire. You're like, so what? But none of that matters, right? That person's a better person. They did this, they did that. Whereas, that's an individualistic culture we live in, right? We live under the perception of me because we look at people and reflect like, man, I wish I had that power if I had the power. That guy or girl, whoever, shows what I would do with that power too. I would do just like them with that money, that power, right? Collectivist cultures, Japanese cultures, things like that, are more so like, no, the situation really made this person this way, and so let's try to really, really help them because they're part of our group. It's not just about this individualism. They're part of a group. They're part of us. If they fail, we fail, right? Whereas us are like, no, I didn't fail. They fail. They got nothing to do with me, right? Other cultures are like, no, if that person failed, then we all fail. Therefore, we should help the people so that we can all succeed. Right? So matters whose behavior we're talking about, some exceptions, right? Our deliberate, admirable actions are attributed to our own good reasons, not to the situation, right? Right? Deliberate, admirable actions. I want to give. Why do you want to give? I think it's the right thing to do. What is that going to do? Maybe give me one step closer to heaven. Like, oh, so you're not really just an innately good human being. Even when it comes to heaven, there's still you're doing the stuff to get to the final goal. You're calculating up, adding up the good deeds. But are you actually doing it? If you remove the heaven part, are you still gonna do it? Now we take away the heaven. There is no heaven. Still gonna give? May not. No reason to give. Think of that as well too. Think of even our belief systems, is it conditional? Is it on the condition of, I gotta get there? Or is it just a very innate thing, no, there's something in me, I just give from the source of giving. And maybe that's the true spiritual part of the religious belief, right? Give just for giving itself. love for loving yourself. Right? And with age, younger selves' behaviors are attributed to our traits. Which is kind of going back to Freudian theory, right? Which is our younger selves. Our younger selves, what time?
49.
Jeez Louise. All right, let me finish this up and we go. And attributions matter. Attributions to persons, to position, or to situation have real consequences, right? They do matter, right? Oh, before you go, what do you think? So I'm still kind of going between what we should do for the final presentations. I want to put you guys in groups of 6 people, so about 5 groups. So do you guys want to do like do you just want to pick somebody you want to analyze and maybe talk about psychological things about it? Do you want it to be like serial killers or something like that? Or do you just want to get in a group and you figure it out yourself? Or do you need more time to think about it? All right, we'll talk about that more on Wednesday.
Business at Dominican University. Thank you for watching. This presentation was brought to you by the Zach Ross Foundation, a global philanthropic organization focusing on poverty, education, and mental health. We hope you've enjoyed.